something that you usually don't have to take out. You don't usually take the CPU out when you're cleaning your computer. I understand you're trying to probably get the dust out of the heatsink, right? Well, there's a certain technique that you use to take that heatsink off, because if you do that, there's a chance you're going to damage that CPU. If you just pull it out and it sticks to the bottom of that heatsink. When I came to New York City back in 2002 was my first time coming here when I met my wife. And I was in a field way out of this line. I was in manufacturing. And due to circumstances, I had a back operation and I couldn't do that type of work anymore. So I came down here and I found out how to get into the computer field. And I found out that A+ is the first step. And I took a course through CUNY up in Harlem where I had two great instructors. I had one instructor that was actually taught the theory and the other instructor was strictly lab. So what we learned from the professor that taught us the theory, we would practice hands-on in the lab. Now this is similar to what we're going to do in this class. We're teaching a little bit of theory, and at the same time we're doing a lot of hands-on, because I find that hands-on is the best way to learn. You can read a book and understand it, but until you actually do it, you're not gonna pick it up until you do it. I think that the students are going to learn how to repair computers and become A+ certified, and that's going to be accomplished by hands-on training. Also, I have another instructor that helps with the class doing the English as a second language, because a lot of the students don't have a full grasp of the English language, and the terminology that's used in CompTIA A+ is pretty long. So some of the words are a little tricky. I mean, even for someone that's up to speed with their English, it's not the easiest thing to learn the terminology. Heat is a bad thing for computers, although everything in there seems to generate heat. Your power supply, the hard drive, the memory, the CPU is a big generator. It's just a small little block, and it does a lot. That's the most important and expensive part in the computer is the CPU.
These little conductors?
Yeah.
Teaching this kind of ESL class as opposed to a regular old-fashioned ESL class is extremely different. I feel like there are immediate rewards. First of all, students can get it, whereas grammar you can teach for 20 years and it's still an ongoing process and you'll never finish learning the language necessarily. You will learn A+ at the end of the course. So that, I think, the students get a real sense of gratification that they've accomplished something very tangible that will help them get a job, and a job that has growth potential. For other ESL teachers, something that has been amazing for me is the opportunity to work with the technical teacher. And I thought I knew this subject, and having the technical expertise with you is just an incredible opportunity. I've learned a lot about technology, but I also feel that I'm much more effective at teaching the students because I have an amazing resource, and I actually feel like being the ESL teacher is a great support for him as well.
We're all going to work together. What we're going to do is we're going to open the computer today, and we're going to look inside, and I want you each to draw the diagram of what you see. You're all going to work in a group, but I don't want just one paper from each group.
I first learned about this, the iBest, at a state conference about 4 years ago, and I was really taken with the concept. Now, I decided that I would, put some money out there to see just what could happen. See what kind of creativity is out there in the field. And I know there are challenges, but I think this is what we have to do with our ESL population. We have to open these kind of doors for them in order for them to have, family-sustaining jobs and career opportunities. I will say I've been pleasantly surprised with how far some of these, at least the two programs that I've visited so far, have come in just a year and a half. And one of the things I'm really liking is that both programs are taking a look at their data, they're taking a look at their curriculum, and they are analyzing it, and they are making improvements as they go along. Both programs have realized that they may have set a threshold a little too low for entry-level requirements in terms of literacy, that the literacy demands of the job are far greater than what you're going to see of a student who tests out, for example, in Best Plus and in Best Literacy. Many of them have had to go back after the ESL student, or the English language learner, has sort of graduated out of the ELL class, and now they're going back and they're doing reading comprehension services and bridge services because now they're ABE students. iBest is a concept where there's team teaching going on between an ESL teacher and, for lack of a better term, a technical teacher, so that the students are basically learning two things at once. They're learning the content and they're learning the English language at the same time. Basically, in its most simplistic sense, that's what iBest is. A whole series of issues and complications around that, which is why I don't think we're ready to go statewide with it, and it's why I really want to nurture these 4 programs.
I think it's important that the state and other agencies fund these programs because it's an important opportunity for the second language learner. New York City is a city of immigrants, and if second language learners have these opportunities to combine both the English language learning with particular sector vocational training, in this case A+, which is sort of the, it's the first step in students being able to have a career in technology. One of the real strengths of this program is the fact that we have 2 instructors in the classroom with the students, so that while John is making sure that they really get the technical side, Jessie is there to make sure that they're learning the language at the same time. And they spend time planning, the 2 instructors, and it really makes it a much richer learning environment. Another interesting thing about this is that the students are not only learning language, but they're also learning a whole subset of vocabulary and language, which is the technical language, which a lot of us aren't familiar with anyway, and certainly a lot of English language instructors aren't familiar with. So I think it provides a really rich learning environment for students.